Olivia and her fiance threw a dinner party one time to celebrate his mom completing chemo. She hired a caterer and they were expecting 25 friends and family. The caterer said he'd bring everything 75% done, but he needed to finish off some dishes in their kitchen. She told him that was fine as long as he finished by 5. He arrived as scheduled at 12 p.m., but the moment he entered the house, Olivia noticed that he had a disgusting smell. That made her uneasy because he was going to be preparing food for sick Pryor and young kids. She just made sure he washed his hands and then left him to his own devices, worrying she was just being presumptuous. The entire time he kept asking her about the seasoning of the food and telling her to taste it. She said, "You're the chef, so I trust you. You don't have to keep asking me." Fast forward, he was still there at 5:45. The guests were arriving, so after 2 gentle reminders, she flat out told him she needed him completely out by 6 no matter what. He apologized and said there had been a delay because Olivia's oven wouldn't stay up to temperature. She never had a problem with her oven before, but figured he's the professional, so maybe it was a subtle problem? He gets his bags and packs everything up, but suddenly heads towards her bedroom. Olivia's completely taken aback and says, "Excuse me, where are you going?" And he says, "To change." She tells him she's not comfortable with him going in her room and there's a restroom to do that. But he insisted it will only take a second and goes in and shuts and locks the door. Olivia couldn't even get a word out before he went in and felt helpless. At this point, her fiance had come back home, so she explained the situation to him. Confused as to what was going on, he pounds on the door, telling the caterer to come out. The man opens the door wearing a t-shirt and jeans. Her fiance said, "You shouldn't be in there. You need to leave." The caterer responded and said, "Excuse me, but this is not your house. It's not up to you to decide." "Yes, actually, it is. My fiance lives here with me." Suddenly, the caterer goes nuts. He turns to her and screams, "You lied to me!" Olivia had no clue what he was talking about. He starts yelling about how she led him on and blurting nonsense, calling her disgusting names. He then goes in the kitchen and starts throwing the food out of the refrigerator and onto the floor. Without hesitating, the fiance and his 2 brothers forced him to leave the house immediately. Thankfully, the party then went on as planned. But Olivia insisted they just order pizza and throw out all the food he made. After partying, they went out late drinking with his brothers and got home at around 3:30 a.m. and passed out in their room. And then, at around 5 a.m., Olivia was woken up to the sound of the door opening. Olivia wakes up her fiance and whispers, "I think someone just came in the house." He said, "Probably my brother left his wallet or something." Olivia figured she's being paranoid when suddenly a loud crash came from outside the room. He told her to lock herself in the closet and call 911 while he went out and looked around. As she was pulling out her phone, they hear, "Olivia! Hello?" And she realizes that insane caterer. She went outside and saw the man shirtless and clearly on something. He lunges towards Olivia and her fiance stops him while she called the police. He tells him the cops have been called and it would be in his best interest for him to get off the property. The caterer says, "I have to make sure Olivia's okay." Her fiance stayed between them while she climbed out the window. He even thought of taking the gun out of the safe. The caterer began to destroy their kitchen, and when the cops finally came in, they see that he has a knife on him. He didn't obey police's orders to drop his weapon, so they tased him. As he's being let out in handcuffs, he's shouting out how he and Olivia are in love. The police asked to do an inventory of the house and see if anything's missing or damaged besides what they witnessed him do. They went around, but saw nothing. But then Olivia remembered that he was in her room. She quickly checked and found out that all her panties were gone. They were so freaked out in the aftermath that they replaced all kitchenware and they had a cleaning crew do a deep clean on the whole house. Olivia was so glad that she decided not to serve the food to the guests, especially her fiance's fragile mother. The caterer sent a letter from prison and thankfully her husband intercepted because she was still recovering from the whole thing. They gave it to the police who helped issue a no-contact order. He was sent to 3 years in prison and thankfully Olivia and her family never saw him again.